The first step of the project is to open the cartons and remove the contents. The larger of the two cartons contains the material for the large table, the smaller the material for the small table. In each carton you will have two wood panels, metal frame components, and hardware needed to put everything together. Please pull and keep everything separate at this time. The next step will be to assemble the frame for the large table. The best way is to lay the side panel flat on the ground on a padded surface and place the stretchers over the bayonets. It's important to make sure that you have the correct bayonet on the correct stretcher. The top bayonets have the holes all facing one direction, the two holes that attach the bayonet to the frame, and the other holes which will be used to attach the frame to the tabletop. The second set of bayonets have holes in the side to attach the bayonets, and then holes going through the top to attach the second shelf to the frame. There are three sizes of bolts that you received in the package. You'll use these smaller short bolts to attach the bayonets to the frame. Tighten all the stretchers to the frame using the short bolts provided. There are two bolts to use for each side of the stretcher. Once the stretchers are secured on the first half of the frame, flip the frame down and secure the second half of the frame, sliding the stretchers over the bayonets and tightening using, again, the smaller of the bolts. Next, you'll want to lay the tabletop out on a flat padded surface so that the frame can be secured to the tabletop. It's important that the logo on the tabletop be opposite the second set of stretchers that are on the frame for the lower table. If you don't do this properly, you'll have to repeat the step of attaching the table. When attaching the table to the frame, you'll need 8 short bolts for attaching the corners, and then the balance of the bolts used will be the medium bolts that will attach the stretchers to the tabletop along with the perimeter rails of the frame to the tabletop. The tabletop has threaded inserts which will make attaching the frame much easier and more secure. Pay attention not to strip the bolts into these inserts, just in case you need to remove them at any time during the installation process. The next step will be to flip the table on its side so that the second shelf can be attached. You'll want to support the legs of the table with some of the foam blocks out of the original packaging just to rise the legs up a little bit so that the second shelf can be lined up properly. Using the long bolts in the package, you'll want to thread them into the threaded inserts that are in the shelf and tighten securely. Once that's complete, you can set the table upright. At this time, it's good to check that you place the logo on the opposite side of the table away from the second shelf. If for some reason you failed to do this and the logo is over the second shelf, you'll need to remove the tabletop and reverse its position and re-secure. The next step in the process is attaching and securing the second table. The frame for the second table is put together in exactly the same way as the large table, using the stretchers in the frames and the small bolts. Slide the unit together and secure the bolts in the bayonets. You'll use these small bolts for this step. Once everything is together, you'll go to the next step, which is attaching the tabletop to the frame. Please make sure on this table, as you did on the large table, that all the bolts are tight and secure, but not over tight that would cause them to strip out. Every bolt that's used in this assembly is a hex head bolt, so make sure you have a couple of good quality drivers on hand so that if one becomes damaged, you can have another one available to go ahead and complete the project. Just like the top table, this tabletop has pre-threaded inserts allowing the bolts to be secured. You'll want to use the medium bolt for this table, making sure that you've done the stretchers and the perimeter bolts and all are complete. After securing the tabletop, the next step will be to secure the second shelf. Once that the top table is secured to the frame, flip the unit up on its end so that the second shelf can be secured. Second shelf also has the threaded inserts. Line them up with the holes, use the medium bolts that were supplied, and secure the unit to the frame. Once this is done, the unit is essentially completed. As a final check, you'll want to align the tables as if they were sitting in the retail store. Slide the nester under the larger table, making sure that the logos are both facing forward and opposite the shelf on the large table. If this is correct, then the project is complete. Total time should have been 25 minutes, including unpacking and cleanup.